Hi, I'm Dana, you're watching Life Loving Books, and today I'm going to be doing the Harry Potter Spells book tag. I saw this on Jessie the Reader's channel and I wasn't tagged, but I wanted to do it, and I don't really care if I'm not tagged. I think it said it was started by TurtleSympathy, so I will link both those videos down below. And let's get started. The first question, Expecto Patronum, a childhood book connected to good memories. And for that, I'm picking Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I read this book in between 3rd and 4th grade. I read the first 6 books in that summer. And I just have so many good memories connected to the Harry Potter books. And, oh gosh, I just love Harry Potter. This copy is so beat up. It's actually like taped on the side to stop it. I just love Harry Potter. I have so many good memories connected to Harry Potter in a variety of different ways. And just, I love Harry Potter. Alright, question 2, Expelliarmus, a book that took you by surprise. And for that, I'm going with Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I expected to not enjoy this book or to think it was meh. I didn't expect to love it like I did. There's just something about the writing and the plotline and the characters just so wonderful. And I didn't expect that from the description and the cover. And I don't typically like high fantasy that much. And I just didn't expect to like this book. But I loved it. And I'm so excited to keep reading the series. Alright, let's see. Next question. Incantato, the last book you read. And for that, it is Silver Shadows by Rochelle Mead. And, oh my gosh, this book was so perfect. So I actually drove like 40 minutes out of my way to get this book because there was a bookstore that had signed copies. Look at that. Rochelle Mead touched this and now I own it. Oh, this book was so good. So good. I love the Bloodlines series. This book was like probably the most difficult for me to read because of the things that Sydney was going through, but it was just so good. So good. So good. Okay. Alohamora, a book that introduced you to a genre you had not considered before, and that is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I read this book in 8th grade. Obviously, I'm no longer an 8th grader. But before then, I had not read any contemporary novels, and I had no desire to until I had read this book. Like, I had read a couple other John Green books before, but no book that, like, hit me this deeply as this book did. So, and this is probably the reason that I started reading more contemporary. So, quite enjoy that book. Alright, question 5, Riddikulus, a funny book you've read. And for that, I'm going with Rebel Belle. This book is not only wonderful to read, it's hilarious. There's some parts in this book when I had to put it down because I was laughing so hard while I was reading it. It's a funny book, and it's also, like, just great. This book's great. If you haven't read it yet, just go read it. It's so good. So good. Alright. Question number 6, a book you think everyone should know about. And for that, I'm going with So You Want to Be a Wizard by Diane Duane. This book series came out, I think the first one, which is this one, came out in 1986. And she is still writing books. She's on, I think, the 10th one, and it's been 4 years since the last one came out. And we have a title for the 10th one, but it's not out yet. Makes me very upset. But I love these books. I read these books in middle school, and I've reread this one and the last one because they're the two that I own because I was poor in middle school, but they're just so good, and no one has heard of them or like read them or anything, and they're fantastic. Like, if you like Harry Potter, you should go read these books. And like, they're middle grade, so look at that. It's like so easy to read. And they're fantastic. Like, oh, they're just so good. And no one's heard of them. And everyone should read them. And she just actually released them. So there's not continuity errors because she's been writing them for so long. She started them she rewrote them. So the first one takes place in 2008 instead of 1986. So like they mentioned Walkmans and stuff, and she just went through and fixed that up. So yeah, you should definitely read it because she fixed the continuity errors now. Alright. Question number 7. Obliviate. A book or spoiler you would like to have forgot having read. I'm going with Allegiant by Veronica Roth. And I read this book I bought it a few days after it came out because I didn't have a chance to go to a bookstore or whatever. I think it came out during a tech week, I'm not positive. But I was on the Goodreads page. I just wanted to see what the overall consensus was, and I scrolled too far down, and there was the spoiler. The major spoiler from this book, blatantly on the Goodreads page that I was looking at to see what people thought of the book. Thanks. Thanks, Goodreads! I'm so angry that I had that spoiled for me. Alright. I'm calm. Imperio. A book you have had to read for school. And I picked my favorite book that I read for school, and that's Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. This book, it's a nonfiction book about successful people, and it's talking about the components that led to their success. But it's not like, oh, these people work so hard. It talks about the things that were outside of their control that led to their success. So it talks about why Asian people are good at math, which is interesting. It talks about how luck plays a major role into your success in life. How being born in Silicon Valley is what leads people like Steve Jobs to create Apple. And it's so interesting. I loved this book. So there's 2 chapters I especially loved called The Trouble with Geniuses, Part 1 and Part 2. And they were just, it was wonderful. And it talked about how having a genius IQ doesn't mean you'll succeed in life. It's like, talks about how upbringing helps you. And it's amazing. And I absolutely loved reading it. It was one of the most enjoyable things I've ever had to read for school. So, Crucio. A book that was painful to read. And for that, I'm going with my least favorite book ever to be written. I hate this book so much. And it's Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury. I think this was Ray Bradbury's first book. And it's awful. This book was hell to read. This was the first book I ever read for high school, and it was a summer project, so there was no teacher help. And I was going to a new school, so I didn't know anyone at the school who was also doing the project, so I couldn't like talk to someone about it. And it was this huge project, and I had never done like serious literary analysis before, and that's what this stupid project was having me do. So like that's why I hated it. But it's also just, it's poorly written. It's so badly written that I wanted to kill myself. And, oh, it's so bad. And it like, honestly, every time I had to pick up this book, I was like, I was in pain because it was so freaking bad. Alright, rant done. Avada Kedavra, a book that can kill, interpret as you will. And for that, I picked Vicious by V.E. Schwab. And if you've read this book, you might know why. So, yes, Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Alright, so that was the Harry Potter spells tag. I'm not going to tag anyone, because I don't really feel like going through that effort. But if you're interested in doing it, just do what I did and just do it. So, tag anyone who watches this. Yay! Alright, I'm Dana, you're watching Life, Love, and Books, and I'll see you next time. Bye!